Today, I'll be critiquing the alt-right, and while I could go into the various political ideas that they possess and try to market to a wider audience, political ideas that would be harmful to anyone that they deem unworthy, and what many would seem as a dark prelude to darker political ideas hidden deeper in alt-right ideology, I will instead be discussing the way they dress. Instead of talking about the entire concept of clothing, I will instead be discussing the point of fashion as a political tool for the alt-right. One way the alt-right does this is by pandering to those who don't really care about political ideas at all, and people who just want to dress up in whatever way they think their ideal society will look like. At the same time, they also try to have a more presentable persona. What this means is trading out leather jackets and swastikas for suits and ties and cute political pins. The reasons for this is to create an image of themselves as just another political voice in the political spectrum. And since all politicians dress in the same semi-formal way anyway, the alt-right has decided to do the same. What they have done is reject the uniform society thinks the extreme right uses, and instead adopted a personality of acceptable politics. They look like normal politicians, or at least they try to. Also, I used to be a model, and I kind of want to get back to that one day, and I don't think I could if I start shit-talking Hugo Boss. Although I could. Fuckers. When I say uniform, I don't really mean the military outfit, more the societal dictated way of dressing. What I'm talking about is societal norms around dressing. For example, I don't think I get much respect or authority at a political debate if I dress like this. Unless, of course, the year is 1786 and I own soldiers. A Nazi wearing a Nazi uniform going to political debates probably wouldn't get much respect there anyway, and might not even get invited in the first place. However, dress that same Nazi up in a suit and tie and try to keep his hands on the podium, people might actually listen to what he has to say. The system isn't perfect though. They slip up. However, the alt-right doesn't need perfection. They just need the system to work well enough so that they can dismiss any outliers as political extremists or jokes or satire or quotes set out of context. In this way, the uniform provides the ideology with a sort of herd immunity, where the entire ideology will still be accepted and protected, even if some individuals start singing Heils and waving swastikas. I also think it's important to mention that the uniform among civilians is not a new thing. The uniform among civilians came from a time when political parties used to outfit their members with political uniforms. The reasons for this are varied, but it basically comes down to the fact that your side will look bigger, better, and kinda cooler if you all dress the same way and you all look kinda cool. It became such a big deal in my country of Sweden that the government banned uniforms outside of the military altogether. The ban was only removed very recently, around the same time that these people started making the rounds. So the uniform as a political tool is powerful but also subversive, which is something that you probably already knew. And as we've seen, the far right also knows this. However, knowing that, how are they so bad at it?
And boy are they bad at it. Their fashion rebranding has worked, but only half. Which means that half of the movement is trying, while the other half isn't really supporting them. And in the end, all you get is some cosplayers hanging out with people who don't really have a fashion sense to begin with.
Fan of Pepe and the Punch, Richard Spencer, always looks like he's a college professor who'd buy you weed before he starts talking about his white ethno-state. And Nazis based in Sweden are so obsessed with whiteness that they are blinded by their own uniforms. However, what really gets me about this is that it doesn't really matter how bad they dress, because they still achieve their goal. They look like boring, sad dads who are lost at a Taylor Swift concert. And the worst thing about all this? That's exactly what they wanted. The extreme right have done a deliberate rebranding of themselves, where their political ideas remain, but in a new and prettier package. Sweden again has a good example of this, and I'm sorry if there's too many Swedish examples. I come from here, I can't help it, I live here, please take me out! The Swedish Democrats only started gaining traction as a political party after they stopped catering to skinhead biker Nazis and instead started to dress up as normal politician people. But again, it's the same people, they just changed wardrobe. This is, in my opinion, one of the major reasons journalists and writers try reaching out to the alt-right. in the belief that people who dress sensibly must have sensible political views. Their uniform is normality, and in exchange for changing wardrobe, they get a seat at the big boy table. So no matter how bad they dress, they still achieve their goals. Wait. That means I can't mock them for a badly look, because that's exactly what they want. I know what to do! We have to change the entire system! They want to change into normality? Ha! Good luck, fuckers! This is the only way we can win. We have to bash the fashion. Fashion must end.
If you like this video I shot underwater with a microphone covered with a sock, I'd very much love if you subscribe to the channel. Also, I want to thank the stellar creator ContraPoints. Her video really helped me in a bad time and inspired me to get back into this hellscape of a website. Go watch her stuff. If you want to deal with more of my content, you can also follow me on Twitter, where I become more and more unraveled in the void of the harsh, cold existence.